Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live, giving you a special update on a Saturday evening in Europe, a Saturday afternoon in the U.S. on the West Coast or on the East Coast, because we came across a live stream that we did not include either in our roundup on Monday or on our weekend update yesterday on Friday, and I like it so much that I wanted to take some time to tell you about it. It's another series of live streams of performances by a group called Classical Tahoe. And what Classical Tahoe does is it brings together top musicians from all over the country and all over the world, actually. In this case, a German Swiss conductor, among other things, to put on a series of concerts up at Lake Tahoe in this beautiful setting. And it's good quality stuff and a very nice blend of traditional classical pieces and contemporary pieces, but lovely contemporary pieces. And there's a concert today, July 27th, Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, which is 10 o'clock on the East Coast. You know, it's 4 in the morning in Europe, so I don't expect anybody to tune it in, but it's a perfect noon time on Sunday in Australia. And what better time to enjoy yourself with a little live stream of classical music, especially when it's such good stuff. Now, they'll be doing, it's on YouTube. It's free of charge. And they will be doing other concerts later on during the weekend. We will try to be there if it's in a time zone where I could possibly be awake. But the program is Prokofiev Symphony Number 1 in D major. It's called the Classical Symphony. They finish up with Mendelssohn Symphony Number 3 in A minor, which is called the Scottish Symphony. But in between is the one I want to tell you about. The in-between piece, the conductor, by the way, is Ruth Reinhardt. Now, Ruth is one of these young women conductors. There's a new wave of women conductors popping up all over the place. So instead of just seeing more gray old guys or younger guys aspiring to become gray old guys, we're getting like these terrific women. And they're burning with enthusiasm and thrilled to be up on the podiums. We haven't seen this many women composers in classical music ever before. And so I think it's terrific. And one of them is Ruth Reinhardt. Now, she's German-born, lives in Swiss, and went to school in Switzerland. She's done debut appearances already with nice orchestras like the New York Phil, the Orchestra Nationale de France, the Cleveland Phil, to name a few. She was also one of those Dudamel fellowship conductors at the LA Philharmonic. And she graduated from Juilliard when she was doing her graduate work. So she's directing. And the piece they're doing in between the other two pieces is by Billy Childs, and it's called Diaspora. It's a concerto for saxophone and orchestra. And the saxophonist is this great saxophonist, Stephen Banks. Stephen Banks is a founding member of an award-winning all saxophone quartet called the Canary Quartet. And he's on the faculty at the Cleveland Institute of Music. And Billy Childs won the award for Best Jazz Instrumental at this year's Grammy Awards. But this piece is about the forced diaspora of Africans to America and other parts, I gather, because America was not the only place where African slaves were transported. But anyway, Childs was inspired, of all things, and structurally in terms of composition, by Ravel's Gaspard de la Nuit, which was based on 3 poems. And so the structure of the piece was modeled around these 3 poems, which gave 3 themes to the piece. So Childs gets together and comes up with 3 poems having to do with the story of the African diaspora. The first one is Africa's Lament by Naira Waheed. The second one is by Claude McKay. It's If We Must Die. And the third one is And Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. And I get choked up just going over the names. So the 3 parts of this concerto for saxophone and orchestra are 1, The Motherland, 2, If We Must Die, and 3, And I Still Rise. If that isn't reason enough to tune in to a free live stream of this lovely orchestra conducted by this, by this great saxophonist and this up and coming, hell or high water. I don't know what that even means, but Ruth Reinhardt, one of these women who are busting through that glass ceiling. I don't know what is. So I wanted to tell you about it to make sure you knew about it. We put out a written announcement, but sometimes people, we don't get all that many views on social media, but sometimes we get more views for videos we put out than for anything else. So I wanted you to have this rather than just something that was lying there dead on the page, so you could, hear me talk about it and maybe catch my enthusiasm for this piece. So I hope that some few of you actually may find your way to the Classical Tahoe today at 7 o'clock Pacific time on the West Coast, 10 o'clock on the East Coast, or at noon down under in Australia, and have the opportunity to enjoy a piece which otherwise you may have missed. It was written in 2022, the Diaspora, and it had its debut, I think, performance with the Minnesota Symphony earlier this year. All considerations of politics aside, woke or whatever you want to call it, but I love seeing women conductors, and I am so intrigued by such a lovely piece being written about the diaspora and the bringing together of truth and beauty, which is what I think music is about, what I think all the arts are about, because they all stem from poetry. And Keats was right when he said, beauty is truth, truth, beauty, that's all you know, and it's all you need to know. And I think Diaspora fits the bill for that. Enjoy listening if you're lucky enough to get to do so.